Yeah, so we are live now.
Okay.
Okay, so good evening to everyone who have joined us here live. I hope you all are.
Parag?
Hello, I think I lost my connection. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's live. So we are live now. So I hope everyone is doing good and staying safe. So I'll just introduce myself. I'm Parag, the marketing associate at Admin and we have with us Ajmal here today. So Ajmal, I would kindly request you to introduce yourself, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Parag. Thank you for your invitation and organizing such a wonderful session today. So this is Ajmal Hassan from Tamil Nadu. So right now I have been working as a postdoctoral research associate at the Institute of Structural Analysis at Technical University of Braunschweig. So I have been here in Germany since 2014. I completed my PhD in 2018. Since then, I have been working as a postdoc. Before that, I graduated from IIT Guwahati. So during my master's, I came to Germany for my master thesis under DAAD, German Academic Exchange Service Fellowships. There is a program called DAD IIT Master Sandwich Program. Under this program, I came to Germany for my master's. And then during my PhD, I got also a fellowship from DAD for 4 years. Now, this is a brief introduction about me and myself, and I'm happy to be here for the wonderful session today.
Great. Thank you very much, Ajmal, for that brief introduction. I think we had to know all we knew all we had to know. So let's not waste any time, and we'll quickly start with the session. So
Yeah.
I have prepared a few list of questions for you, right?
Mhm.
One second, yeah. So I have made a few questions for you. So my first question to you is, is the uh, what should an ideal profile look like while applying for PhD in Germany?
So more or less, the requirements are same for PhD position, any PhD position in Germany, and good academic background, yeah, bachelor's degree, and a master's degree, yeah. So these are the basic requirements for getting an admission for PhD in Germany. Okay, so apart from this academic background, they might expect if the student has or the candidate has a research experience during his master's or under any other project positions, whether he has carried out in their previous institutions or research institution, it will be an additional advantage. Yeah. So then when we talk about the language proficiency, so TOEFL or IELTS may be expected as masters. So if there is a lot of competition for the set positions in top universities, that may be adding to his profile. So, but it is not a mandatory or it is not a compulsory for PhD position in Germany. Okay. Then likewise, they might also expect you to have German language proficiency, at least minimum level or beginner level. So it's called A1 or A2. So it also helps, but there is no mandatory in the requirements. So the requirements are bachelor's degree and master's degree is enough. Then updated CV with the motivation letter. So what kind of motivation the candidate has. So that speaks a lot. Okay, how he got into engineering program, then how he is motivated towards the PhD. So what is his future thoughts? So after completion of PhD, what is going to do? How he has planned his further PhD career or research career, either in industry or in academia. So that really matters. So this should be the ideal profile, I would say. bachelor's, master's, then updated CV, and motivational. Yeah, the exact motivation. So what he has. So not more than that.
Okay,
So
understood. So my next, you said that one should have a German language proficiency. However, you said that A1 or A2. So don't you think A1 is like very basic,
of
like
course,
very beginner?
yeah, because that's what I said. So the language proficiency, it is not mandatory.
Okay,
Okay, for getting an admission. Okay, if he has German language skills, then so that shows the candidate's motivation. Okay, if he wants to come to Germany and do PhD, at least he has some basic knowledge about German. So how he could communicate with the people that he knows already. Okay, but it has it gives additional information that the candidate is really motivated towards Germany and German education.
okay, understood.
Yeah.
So Ajmal, my next question to you would be, so how important does a paper have, like how important does having a research paper play a role for your PhD in Germany?
Okay. So this is the most important questions what usually we have from India. Yeah. So if you look at the requirements for PhD positions, there is no requirement that you should have a papers. So they say that list of publications, if any. So that means that it's not a
Not a
mandatory
requirement.
for a
Okay.
PhD applicant. Okay, because here the master students, those who are working on their master thesis, they don't publish. Even sometimes there is no mandatory for a PhD candidate to publish, because they are going to publish their PhD thesis as a book. Okay, with the proper publishers. So they don't expect even PhD candidate to publish, but the publications are matter when they are going for further application for research funding. Okay, it helps. So that once after joining PhD, it does a lot of matter. Okay, but at the time of application, if you have a publication, it will be helpful. If not, it doesn't matter actually.
Okay, so actually, this is kind of a myth buster that you're saying,
Yeah,
because people usually assume that a research paper is one of the most important things that one needs to have while applying for PhD in the in Germany, mainly because Germany is a very research oriented country, right?
yeah,
And when you are going for a research course, so it is assumed that you will have some research paper, published from some good publishers or equivalently something like that, right?
yeah. So I can say that I can say from my own experience and what I see from my colleagues and my friends, those who have come along with me from India to Germany for their PhD. So rarely they had a publication. Even I didn't have a publication in a reputed journals. So I had only conference publication. Okay, at the time of joining PhD in Germany. Okay.
Okay.
So even the case is that they don't expect a master candidate to be a master in research. Okay, they think that okay, they don't know anything, but if he has a very good degree in bachelor's and masters, he has a very good academic background, he is capable of doing it. Okay, that is what they need to know.
Okay, so actually, this question has actually helped us a lot to understand that that there is not a necessity of a research paper for applying your PhD in Germany, right?
Yeah. So as I said, it is not a mandatory.
Yeah,
If they have, it helps.
it helps. Yeah.
Okay. So for example, the professors might understand that, okay, if he has already published, so he could say that, okay, he has a very good knowledge of writing skills. Yeah. He has a very good writing skills, and how he knows how to document it. Yeah. So these are the skills are required during PhD. So after PhD, you have to publish your work, right? So that means if the
Understood.
professor knows, it's an additional advantage, I would say.
Understood. Okay. So my next question to you is Ajmal. So if one has a PhD from India, okay, suppose I have a PhD from India, so will I also be eligible for a double PhD in Germany?
Of course, there is no there is no restriction as I see, because some people usually after doctorate, if he has a double doctorate, it is meant for honorary doctorate. He has not done any research. Okay, so because after certain years of experience in research, so by considering or recognizing his research potential in the particular fields, he will be given a doctorate. Okay, so it happens actually, but if because that is the because in Germany they call a term called habilitation. Okay, so for example, now I have completed my PhD. After my PhD, I can start doing my research as a postdoctoral fellow, or any other position called research assistant or associate. I can do my research. After 6 years or after 5 years, if I have good number of publications, if I have enough knowledge in that particular field, I can submit a dissertation. Okay, so they will conduct another defense, and we have to defend our work in front of a lot of public candidates, any students or anybody from the university, they can participate in that defense, and we have to defend the people.
Yeah.
So if they have any questions, we have to answer. It's more or like an exam, PhD defense. Yeah. If I get through it, then I will be given a degree like the title as Habil, Doctor in Habil. So that is in most of the European countries, they have this kind of system. So later on, they have changed it into um, postdoc. When there is a postdoc, then there is no need of habilitation. Simply, if you have a postdoctoral experience, it is enough for considering or to be eligible for applying for a professorship in Germany. Okay, so that means that even if you have a doctoral degree, you can come to Germany and do research. Yeah, so research is something different, degree is something different. Okay, doing research will be counted as a postdoctoral experience if you have already doctor. Okay, from your research, if you are submitting your dissertation, you can contact, you can go through all the examination procedures, you get the degree. I hope I
Okay.
answered.
Understood well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely you did.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next question, a very important question indeed. So, according to you, does networking with the professor help me in getting an admission into PhD?
Definitely yes. Definitely yes. Because uh, and means of networking, you get to know a professor personally, for example. Okay, and for example, I'm attending conference, so I meet a professor somewhere from South Germany, so I'm living in North Germany. Okay, I meet him in a conference. Okay, then he knows, he attended my paper session presentation, and he asked some questions. After my presentation, I go to him and explain him and what I did. And I was, for example, I'm asking him questions, what all of the work you are doing, what is your research field. This kind of interest shows that, okay, the professor might think that, okay, the candidate is interested in doing research, and he's taking a self initiative, and he uh, posts on, keep on asking questions, right? This shows him that, okay, we have a motivation towards research. Okay.
Definitely.
At later point, for example, I want to do some research, I have found some positions under his supervision. Then if I talk to him, hey, hello professor, I have met him already in a conference, we have exchanged a lot of ideas, so now this position under your supervision seems to be interesting for me, either I can be eligible or not. Even through email chat, we can get to know that whether he is ready to accept or not. Yeah.
Okay.
So that way it really helps.
Okay. Understood. So, with this question coming to an end, I would move on to the next question. That is, so according to you, Ajmal, what role do academics play? Like, do academics play a very high role when it comes to doing a PhD? Like your graduation, your masters, do they have? Do one have to get, like, excel in academics?
Not really. Actually, even for example, one candidate is accepted for a PhD program. He started his PhD, then he is not really motivated towards PhD. Okay, then even though he was accepted in a program, he could not start off well. Then he could not even complete the first year of his PhD. Okay, so that means that after 1 year, after 6 months, if he's not interested, he quit the program. Okay, somebody they will start doing research in the middle of the program. He will quit the PhD. He is not interested anymore, because PhD you need a lot of patience, because you should be really motivated towards completion of PhD. Okay,
Definitely.
first you have to focus on your research. There may be a lot of hurdles, a lot of difficulties. Sometimes program when we do coding for the simulating physical phenomena, sometimes the code will not work. Sometimes experimental setup is failure, or results will not be favor of us. Then this all the things will be gone through during one's PhD. Okay, so even though if you have a very good academic background, if you have a really motivation towards research, only then you can get through it. Otherwise it is difficult. But the basic requirement says that you need to have academic background. So at least 60% or 70% percentage doesn't matter how much knowledge you have, whether you are interested in doing it or not. That really matters. Even for example, even the people, those who are coming from IITs, they are also doing PhD in Germany. People, those who have done their masters or bachelors in some other engineering colleges, in affiliated engineering colleges, these colleges cannot be compared with IITs or NITs. Even those candidates are coming to Germany, are completing their PhD. Okay, so at the end, if you have a degree from IIT or NIT, really the professors in Germany, they know that the reputation of IITs and NITs. But recently I have an experience. One of my colleagues, supervisor, is a screening committee for PhD candidates. Okay, then she has received candidates profile from one of the NITs from India. Okay, now the professor asked one of my colleagues, he is also from India, so whether have you heard about this NIT, what does it mean, how you can compare with IIT, whether it is really a reputed institute or not. Even though the candidate's profile says that she has a very good completion of a master's degree, she had a very good grade, she doesn't have any publication as I saw her profile, but still they wanted to know whether the institute or the degree what she has done, it is reputed or not. Okay, so how much she has performed in her academic career, so it will at least show them that okay, the candidate is really motivated.
Understood. Yes. So yes, academics do matter. However, knowledge is, I think, more important than marks.
The interest, knowledge and interest towards
Interest.
it.
Yes, definitely. So, Ajmal, my next question to you would be, how important does an SOP play as a role in regards to admission, like getting admission for PhD in Germany?
Yeah. Thank you for this question. Actually, this is a SOP. When you talk about statement of purpose or motivation letter, covering letter, these all are same. In my point of view, all are same. I don't differentiate SOP from motivation letter. The same content is going to be in that document, I would say. And for masters, degree, SOP really matters. Yeah? From getting an admission for master's degree, then SOP really matters. Why he is applying to the university, why he is applying to the particular program, why he is choosing the particular city sometimes, and what is his motivation towards the program, and after his master's, what is his plan. Everything should be clearly and precisely written in that SOP. Okay, so when we talk about this SOP or motivation letter for research, same way it works. Yeah. So the motivation, the candidate's motivation only he can do right in that motivation letter SOP. Okay, so I think the format is same. Yeah, it plays a major role in getting admission, because through that motivation letter only the professors or the committee, selection committee, will come to know about the candidate's profile and his interest. Okay, but before writing SOP or motivation letter, the candidates has to do a lot of, they have to do a lot of research on the professor's profile, and for which program they are going to apply, and to which institute or which research group they are going to apply. So accordingly, they have to write their SOP or motivation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But sometimes they simply say that it is not, they will not say that it's statement of purpose or motivation letter, just a letter, just a letter showing your motivation. That's it. They will call simple terms. Yeah? They will not particularly ask for your statement of purpose, because most of the research PhD programs, when you apply for a PhD or a scholarship, if you have any idea, research idea, then you have to submit a research proposal. Yeah, then you can combine this motivation letter. You can write within a
LOR.
LOR. What is
Letter
that?
of recommendation.
Okay. Sorry, I never. Okay. It's a short form of LOR. Okay. Yeah, sometimes they call it as a reference letter. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. For example, it helps actually. It is really important. And for example, the professors are getting a number of emails from India, especially from India. Okay, especially from India. I have to say here, because personally, my supervisor told me that he receives a lot of emails from India and asking for PhD positions and asking for internships, something like that. Yeah. So in that case, he cannot understand, or he cannot know personally the candidate who is applying, whether it is a real candidate is sending emails, or it is a real kind of automated mails are coming to professor's email. They are not sure about it. Okay, then if the candidate is getting a letter of recommendation from some professors, some supervisors, yeah, then what they write, really they know personally the candidate. Yeah, then he knows that, okay, he is a good candidate. He may not be the top talented candidate, but he could do what he does actually. Yeah, it's perfectly, he can do it, and he can also they will recommend actually what he has done. Yeah, what he is capable of doing it. So these are all the things, and personally also how the candidate is, whether he is easily approachable, or he really has a motivation uh, towards a PhD, whether he is capable of completing it, not simply starting and doing something else in Germany and going somewhere else. Instead, he's really focused on particular program. So these things will be cleared from the letter of recommendation.
Okay.
And because when number of emails coming from different parts of the world, somehow they have to understand who is writing the recommendation. Now, little responsibility goes to the professors, those who are writing a recommendation letter. Yeah, even something happens here, they can ask them back, and you send a candidate, you have written a recommendation. Yeah, so yeah, never happens something bad like that, but still they have a responsible role, I would say.
Okay. Mhm. Understood. So, Ajmal, my next question to you would be that, like, according to you, when is the correct time for for an applicant to start his applications for PhD?
So that there is no specified time frame for a PhD application process. Yeah, so anytime, whenever there is a vacancy, for example, if it's not like IITs, I would say IITs, they have two intakes. In January there is an intake, and there is another intake in July, or
Yeah.
in summer and winter, I would say. Yeah, here also they have a semesters, but they would prefer the candidate to start from the right semester, but there is no proper time for applying. And if they have some structured program, then there will be some specified time. Actually, it depends. Actually, for
Okay.
example, if a professor has already a funding, now he is looking for a candidate to join his group under this funded project. Then he receives the funding in January, let's say January 2021 he received. Now he might be looking for the candidate. He's not satisfied with other profile. Then the position the still remains. Yeah. So whenever the application comes, he can consider his application, the candidate's application, and he can start processing the selection procedure. Okay. As if you simply ask, there is no specified time for applying, but still you can think of semester, during start of semesters, might be there will be some opening positions. Based on that, you can look for the suitable positions and you can start applying it.
Apply.
But when there is a specified time, if you ask me, I would say that if you want to apply for a scholarship, side by side you are planning to apply for a PhD admission, then there is a specified deadline. Then you have to follow through the funding agency. Uh, for example, German Academy Exchange Service, they usually have a deadline, 1st of October. You have to submit your application. Then they will call for the interview in November or December. Okay, November or December, they will call for the interview. The results will be out during March. Then you will start your language course in India, maybe April, May, and you start your language course in Germany from June. Then actually you start your PhD from winter semester, the start of winter semester. That means in beginning of September or October, you will start your PhD. That means you have to think of, okay, if you want to start your PhD in 2022 October, you have to start writing your application now, and you have to submit for the funding agency. Okay, when you are going for a funding, external funding, there is a specified time.
Okay.
Simply, if you are looking for a PhD positions in Germany, there is no specified time. It depends. It may be different from different universities, and within the university, there may be different different deadlines for the within the departments. Yeah, so there is no specified time, I would say. But research position is something different. Submitting application to the university is something different. When you are submitting your application to the PhD program, specified program in the university, then you might have some deadlines. It depends actually.
Understood. Great. So, Ajmal, my last question to you for the day would be very important also, that if I have a research profile, okay, like if my profile has some bit of a research, then while applying for PhD in Germany, will I be eligible for scholarships?
So that means after coming to Germany, or
Like before applying, like for the program, will I get a scholarship?
Yeah, for the PhD, right? PhD
Yeah,
funding you
yes.
talk about. Yeah, yeah. You still you will be eligible. Yeah, the first eligibility criteria for getting a funding or applying for the funding, you need to have acceptance from at least a single professor from Germany. Okay, so the first step is you have to convince a professor that whether he is supervising your PhD thesis. Yeah, then if he is accepting you as a candidate, PhD candidate, and he is inviting you to his group, then with his acceptance, yeah, you can apply for the PhD external funding.
Okay.
Yeah, the same way I came actually. First, I got an invitation from invitation letter or acceptance letter from my supervisor. Okay, they said, okay, I like to invite Ajmal Hassan for under this project topic, and he will be working on this topic. I like to invite him to my research group, something like that. He has to write. He has to show us an acceptance. With that acceptance letter, with our CV, our motivation letter, and with already agreed research topic and the research theme, what we are going to do, which topic we'll be working on for my PhD dissertation, that has to be submitted along with this to the funding agency. Okay. After that, the funding agency, they might contact some personal interview, or telephonic or virtual interview. They can also contact and select the candidates. Okay, so if your professor has already funding, you don't need to go for external funding. If your professor says that he can only invite you, he can provide you a place for doing research, he cannot fund you, then you have to apply for external funding.
Great, understood. So yeah, this point was actually very important. And thanks a lot for clearing it out. Really appreciate it. So
Thank you.
Ajmal, I have asked you all the questions that I had in my mind, which I felt are the most relevant questions to the topic. And thank you for answering them. Apart from everything else, can you please give us a few last guidelines or suggestions or tips for how to apply for PhD in Germany?
Okay, so that means I have to start from the scratch.
No, just in a nutshell.
Okay,
In a nutshell.
no, mostly you have asked very important questions.
Yes.
I would say that when a student is going to or planning to apply for a PhD in Germany, he has to know first what is meant by a research position and what is a PhD position. Okay, research position is something different, and PhD position is something different. Okay, you didn't understand that. I'm
No,
sure.
I didn't understand. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I meant to say that usually from the university, when the professor has a vacancy, when he is announcing that he has a vacant positions, he will call it as a research position.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. He will call it as a research position. Okay. So in his announcement, he will write that, okay, there will be a line. In generally in Germany, there will be a line that, okay, the candidate who got admission or who got selected for this position, he will be given a chance to register PhD for PhD program. Okay, so he can do research. Whatever the research he has done, he might be able to, or he could submit as a thesis, and he can get a PhD degree. Okay, this is one thing. Another thing is they will call directly that this position is meant for PhD. Okay, so that means here you don't have an option. You have to do only focus on your PhD.
Got it. Yes.
Yeah. So it is meant for a PhD. It is more, sometimes it will be called as a structured PhD. Structured PhD. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So another thing is called as individual PhD. So individual means he can decide whether he wants to do it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but simply, okay, 3 years of research, I don't want to submit a thesis, I can go back. Yeah,
Understood.
so it's an option. It's an option. So this thing, the candidate has to know when he's looking for a PhD. And the another thing is selecting a professor. Selecting a professor, he has to do a lot of research. Which university and which program and which research fields he has, and currently, what are the research areas he's working on. So these things he has to do a lot of research, and he has to write his motivation accordingly, why he's interested in so and so fields. So that has to be clear in his motivation letter. So otherwise, the professor, why he has to admit or give admission to any other candidate for the research program. Okay, so that has to be clear. Yeah? And when contacting a professor, the candidate should be professional. Instead of simply writing a DSR to sending 200 mails to 200 professors. Okay, we have to address the professor correctly by name. Dear Professor Mark, dear Professor Dinkler, dear Professor Musterman, something like that. We have to correctly address the professor by last name, at least professor, doctor, or last name. And the content should be very crisp and precise. Okay, instead of dumping information from the motivation letter to the email window, instead of dumping the information, he has to cut down and what all of the highlights he has, what is his motivation in writing this email or contacting this professor, why he has an interest. So simple 5 lines or 5 to 10 lines, not more than that. If he's writing a essay with a number of lines, then the professor doesn't have enough time to read the emails. And when you are sending an email to a professor, what time you are sending? So that is also a matter. Okay, so you have to send an email, for example, not on Friday. Yeah, you have to send the email on Monday. So you have to send the email by Indian time 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so that the professor receives it in the morning at 9 o'clock. Yeah, the 3.5 hours difference you have to calculate accordingly. You have to send an email. So if you send an email to the professor on Friday evening, the professor will be Saturday, Sunday, will be at home, and definitely they don't look at the official emails during weekends. So if he is back on Monday, he has a lot of other things to do. When he opens his email and he sees number of emails in his inbox, then your email will be at the bottom. So the what will be at the top, it will be seen immediately, right? So the right subject, the subject line should be clear. Instead of writing a long subject, we have to precisely we have to write it. Nah? That is also important. Then we have to avoid the color letters. Simply Arial fonts and Times New Roman is enough. Don't better not to use different color letters and fancy letters, fancy font styles. So these things should be avoided. Nah? So so these are the things we have to really take care. And when you, before sending and clicking the send button, you have to at least read twice or thrice, is there any spelling mistake or any punctuation or anything, any lines or miscommunicating, or these are the things should be taken care of while writing an email. Yeah. I think these are the things important. And also I would say that, so before contacting a professors, we have to create a list of professors, and we have to create a table like the professors contacted or already sent an email on 29th of September. Okay, so for example, we have sent an email to a professor today, and tomorrow we don't know whether the names may be similar. Then we'll be writing another email to the same professor on the next day. Then instead of repeating emails to the same professor, we should avoid actually. This thing should be taken care of.
Should be kept as a note, right?
Yeah, kept it.
Okay.
Yeah, and when we have, for example, you have sent on 30th of September, and you are asking his reply on 1st of October. It is not correct. Okay, you have to give him some time to read your email, and maybe at least a week, or if not 10 days at least, you can give him a time to read his email, and then you have to contact maybe via phone or short email for the reminder. Yeah, so just a follow-up email. So first email and the follow-up email, you have to give certain time. So that has to be followed. Doing a follow-up is not a wrong idea. It's a good idea. So that one thing, you get your reply fast. The next thing, you show your interest again in that particular group. And yeah, sometimes even you can contact the secretary, and if he has a time, then he can ask for the particular time slot to talk to him on phone. So that can also be done actually.
Got it.
Yeah.
Great, Ajmal. I think you have helped us out with all the questions and information that we needed to know for pursuing a PhD in Germany. Thanks a lot for all the information. It was very insightful and really helpful for everyone who has watched this live. So thank you very much, Ajmal, for attending, for being the speaker. And yep, that's all from my side. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Parag, and I'm also very thankful to the admit card. And since a year, I have been associated with the admit card, and I had interacted with many students. I hope the information and the experience, what is from my side, would be beneficial to the interesting candidates. Actually, I would say that. Yeah.
Definitely.
So thank you so much, Parag.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Our pleasure. Thank you. Have a good day ahead. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.